podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever. Hey, it's THACO's Hammer again, your 2E show. I am DM Glenn, with, of course, DM Brian.
Abandon all hope, all ye who enter here.
Oh, he kept it clean. Good. And, and
This is a
DM
family
Corey.
program. This is a family program.
Aloha, everyone. I'm back.
Boy, you really want to get back to Hawaii, don't you? Well, how you doing? Take a seat. Let me see your character. Go get a drink in the fridge, and we'll get right down to it. We got kind of a hodgepodge show today. Number, I believe, 12?
That is correct, sir.
On number 12. And so let's get right to it. Let's get to hits and crits.
What do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Oh, we ought to do something. It's Saturday night. I don't want to go bowling like last Saturday. Oh, what do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Hits and crits. Hits and crits. Well, folks, or well, guys, what'd you do for RPGs this week? Role-playing, anything? Even auxiliary stuff?
This week I've been dealing with a new addiction of mine. They're tiles, dungeon tiles.
I was going to say
decided,
Minecraft
no.
2 Electric Boogaloo.
No, Minecraft. my Minecraft phase is waned. I'm done. I'm free of my addiction. No, I've been dealing with the new dungeon tiles, and I've been looking at some of them. They look pretty cool, but I decided to start making some of my own and working in Photoshop and drawing some freehand, and then altering them in Photoshop, making some of my own dungeon tiles, as well as I just picked up the Land of Intrigues box set, which I've been going through.
Nice.
Forgotten Realms. It's not bad. It's got a lot of good information that I can just throw anywhere else I need to. It doesn't need to be Forgotten Realms. It's really useful across the board.
Cool. What about you, Brian?
Well, up until about, I'd say, 15 minutes ago, I was entering in a bunch of information into my database program until Corey said, "You idiot, I've already done that. You don't have to do that. Here, have this. Have some of this." So, as of right now, aside from that abortive project, I'm still converting characters over. I finally found... I was looking for my the first martial artist character I ever made, and I finally found him. He was like a dual class, like 13th level fighter, 14th level martial artist.
Wow.
And complete with henchmen and all that kind of crap. But yeah, I finally found him, so I'm gonna convert him over, and still messing around with a whiteboard program. It's kind of slow going because the learning curve is fairly steep. So. But I figure once I get it down to where I can just take, say, everybody's character, put it on the whiteboard, then whatever monsters that they're going to be going up against, I can just put them on without worrying about this, that, or the other thing, then, I should be good.
Yep.
Oh, good. Cool. Well, I've been doing a couple, 2-3 things. I've been making these D&D pocket character sheets. I made three. This is for like what they call pocket mods. You can find it at pocketmods.com. They'll show you how to make it for anything. It's real easy. You can make like an 8-page book out of one piece of paper. And
Wow.
I made a 3-5 character sheet for a Gamma trade show a few years ago. And I went on Dyson's site. He showed me his Labyrinth Lord one he made. and said, "Wow, I should do this again," and hand them out at the North Texas RPG Con. So I made like a basic D&D and AD&D first and second edition one, and they're all up there on Dragon's Foot. Just look around in the forum sections for the pocket character sheet. You can download them, make your own. You can stick them right in your pocket or your wallet or something. It's really nice.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sounds good, man. I'd like to see a copy when you're done.
Well, go on the Dragon's Foot forum and take a look.
I think I will.
Okay. I also got through the first session of Crispy's Labyrinth Lord game. That was fun, where I got to play my drunk cleric.
And you stayed alive, which is more impressive.
Yes, I did. It took me until, first of all, I couldn't hit anything.
Really?
Yeah,
but I couldn't.
Surprisingly, a clerk.
But I did. Yeah, I tried like 5d20, and it's like nothing. I may have got like out of 10 swings, I may have got hit once.
Wow.
And but I didn't. It took me practically the whole adventure to get bloodied, though. Finally, somebody hit me. You take 5 points. I said, yes. Finally, I'm not a virgin anymore. Yes,
you've been deflowered.
Yeah. Speaking of deflowered, we had to rescue virgins from these bandits who were following some god that wanted us to sacrifice them. So I said, "Well, we got all the virgins out." Yeah, and Crispy goes, "You got them back to the village. Did they stay virgins?" And I go, "Well, most of them." Okay, that's a good percentage. Fine. Okay. But that was a lot of fun, and Brian's going to be joining us this coming Thursday.
Yes, I will.
Wow.
He's going to play a bard.
No, I'm playing a ranger.
Oh, yeah, a ranger. I'm sorry. Yes, you're playing a ranger. That's right. Woody Woodchipper, I think he's called, isn't he? Or...
No, his name's Mac.
Mac.
Yeah, Mac the Ranger. Now, see, if I wanted to be really cheesy, I would just have him be proficient and use just knives, but I'm not going to do that.
Mac the Knife.
I'm not going to do that.
Mac the Knife.
Yep.
Nice.
Sure, why not? Do you have an animal companion? No, we don't do animal companions.
Yeah, gotta remember, this is the combat-oriented Ranger. It's not the 2E version where they get, get animal companions as they go. I wouldn't mind it if I got one. As a matter of fact, I think my character has enough gold left over to actually purchase a dog or something, but I thought better of it.
Giant lizard, maybe? Maybe we can find some kind of tameable monster in the dungeon.
A flump.
If he does get a pet, if he does get a pet, you have to call it Tosh.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
No, after you.
Exactly, yeah, the WB ripoff of Chip and Dale, yeah. But anyway.
That's what I did this week. We got any emails, Brian?
Yes, actually, we have one.
This is the old bag and see if we can find.
Yeah. And digging in the bag, I've got an email from Iron Face.
Not to be confused with
Iron Beaver.
Yes.
It doesn't itch near as much.
Might be Iron Beaver's brother or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Beaver face. No.
Whoa.
Wow. Hey, family-oriented show, Glenn. Easy. Okay. Hey, Glenn.
Kids, get out of the room. I'll say it again. Go ahead.
Yes. Parents, put your hands over your children's ears so they may not hear this. But
that's right. What does Iron Face say?
Okay, he said, "Hey, Glenn and Corey." Now I'm mildly offended because he didn't put my name in there, damn it. Anyway, I have a question that nobody has a clear answer on. When a ghoul attacks, do you need to make a single save or multiple saves against paralyzation? Personally, it seems overkill for such a minor creature, plus who honestly has the chance of making 3 successful saves if you get hit by one of these creatures in an MR. Wow, that's one hell of a sentence. Anyway, if you know what the official canon would be, that would be a big help. I can't believe in all these years this has never been fully addressed. Best, Iron Face.
Well, I'm just going to start off and say I want to let Brian have the opportunity to answer this. Since he wasn't greeted in the email, this way it will let Iron Face know that to save face, he needs to greet Brian from now on.
Yeah, well, just include us all, that's all.
That's right.
Don't single anybody out. That's not fair.
What's your ruling on this, Brian?
Well, ever since I've been, behind the DM screen, every time a ghoul hits somebody, they have to make a save. I saw this guy put this up also on the Dragon's Foot forum for the same thing, and I would say probably 95% of the people who responded said the same thing. And I don't see why not. And not only that, there are precedents that suggest that every time a ghoul hits with a claw or a bite, that you have to make a separate save.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's also another precedent is the carrion crawler, which has all these tentacles that if they hit somebody, they have to make a save. And yes, it means that each time it hits, whether it's 1 hit or 8, you have to make that number of saves.
Right.
So I would say it only makes sense to extend that ruling to the ghoul.
Okay, I'm looking at the monsters manual right now for ghoul, and they have an attack. How many attacks do they have? Number of attacks 3. So I would say I'm assuming it's going to be 1-on-1 with a ghoul for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while I get a 2-on-1, but something like that. But taking 1-on-1, he gets 3 attacks. So I'm assuming what is that? Claw bite.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in combat, it says that you become rigid unless you make a saving throw versus paralyzation. So there's 3. So I'm assuming 3 attacks, 3 hits, 3 saves.
I
Does
agree.
that sound about right? Okay.
I agree completely. Corey?
Yeah, I know.
I run this different. I'm just gonna be the always the other side of the coin here.
That's fine. You're the devil's advocate this time.
If you got a ghoul that puts its mouth on you and touches you, and you're gonna become rigid. Sorry, family show.
Oh my God. Wow. That needs to be cut.
At least you didn't say turgid. Did I say turgid?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
what
I'm
I
sorry.
do is
I won't say turgid again.
when a ghoul attacks with its claw bite, and I usually do a saving throw, and if all 3 hit, and after all 3 hit, those 3, they do 1 saving throw.
Okay.
After the next attack, if they're attacked again and they need to make another saving throw, it's at a minus because they've already had to do the same saving throw. So they're more susceptible to the ghoul's paralysis.
That's an interesting way of doing it.
A protracted fight against a ghoul begins to hamper your ability to defend against the paralysis from the ghoul because you already have, filthy nails and biting with their fangs. You've already been attacked. So I do personally only do 1 save for all 3 attacks or 2 attacks or 1 attack. But if it does hit your character and you take damage and you have to roll a save in round 1, come round 2, if you have to do it again, you're taking a -1.
That's an interesting compromise.
That's how I usually do it. That way it's
Sounds
less
good.
dice rolling, So that's
just... I'm also looking here that in 2nd edition, ghouls are undead creatures. Not all editions they are undead, but in 2nd edition they are undead. So treat it so they can be turned.
Yes.
Too. Yes. Like I think either in 1st edition or basic or like Rule Cyclopedia, they didn't say they were undead. So it's like, well, I don't know if I can turn these.
Right.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. But here, they're undead. Yeah. You can turn them.
First sentence in the description: ghouls are undead creatures. One's human.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how does that? Once again, I ask, how does that differ from zombies? Which are also undead creatures that were once human.
Right.
Intelligence factor number 1. Ghouls are smarter than zombies by an order of magnitude.
Okay.
Zombies are mindless creatures brought up just to slay the living. Ghouls are...
They got an
It says right here, ghouls have a terrible cunning, which enables them to hunt their prey most effectively. They still have a mind, a hunter predatory mind. Yeah. And they actually move a lot faster than zombies do. Their moves increase compared to the zombies. So
what's a ghoul's move rate? 15?
No, it's 9. Why is it 9?
Oh, it's not. That's weird. No, because the zombies is 6.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
The gas is 15, which is what I think a ghoul should be. When I see the new zombie movies where the zombies are running like in 28 Days Later, or the new Dawn of the Dead movie where they're full running out zombies, they're like Olympic sprinters, I think of a ghoul when I think of that. I don't think of a zombie.
Or Zombieland for that matter.
Or Zombieland, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not down for cardio, so I'll be first to go.
Yeah, and I have a bad ankle, so yeah, probably be second.
Yeah, the only thing that
so
the only
We'd
thing I'm
all be
giving those.
dead.
Well, only when I run out of ammo. That's all I gotta say.
There you go. Just remember, hit them in the head or sever their spinal cord.
Yep.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And when it all comes down to all you D&D fans and you get attacked by zombies when the true zombie apocalypse start here in America, swords don't need to reload.
How did I know you were going to bring that up?
Well, it links, we're doing D&D. I just figured it linked,
Well, thank you, Iron Face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
thanks, Iron
say
Face.
hello to your companion, Iron Beaver.
Yes.
And folks, hey, send them in.
Yes.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
THACOshammer@gmail.com
Mm-hmm.
or 405-806-0555 or the forums. You know where to go.
Dragonsfoot.org or Purple Worm.
Yes.
purpleworm.org. And now it's in the book.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book. It's in the book. Corey, you had a question?
I have a question today, Glenn. Just a simple question. I'm looking through all my second edition books, and the question I have is, where's my assassin?
And I'm pointing to Brian.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you got it in there somewhere. It's probably under your bed or something.
Yeah,
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You didn't see me do it. You can't prove a thing.
Probably under Zeb Cook's bed.
Brian, where's my assassin?
Okay. Well, when they decided to redo the rules for second edition, they took the assassin class out completely. Yeah, exactly. They even suggested that you could just make your assassin a straight thief, or something ridiculous like that. But what ended up happening is that, as I have come to find out, is that they actually re-entered the class in a Greyhawk supplement called the Scarlet Brotherhood. Now,
which went under the radar so low.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever saw it at a game store, I think.
I have. But
I never I've been in 2 states with game stores. I had never seen it on the shelf.
But as come to find out, this is a supplement that's like one of the last second edition ones they did before third edition came out in 2000.
Ah.
That was like right on the tail end of it. So, they snuck that in, and they also snuck the monk class in there as well, which...
Well, another reason it probably went under the radar because it wasn't a generic book. It was a Greyhawk supplement.
That's true. And, I'd say probably about 70 to 80% of second edition players were playing in Forgotten Realms. Is that a fair estimate?
Or their own campaigns.
Yeah, or their own homebrews, yeah.
Or Mystara.
Which is something we will save for another
show, yes.
Yes, he says through gritted teeth. But anyway. But like I said, this was something that they just snuck in like just under the wire. And it actually is a halfway passable class. And it varies enough from the thief to make it, to where you almost have a completely different mindset in order to play it. Of course, you have to be evil in alignment, and they still have what they did instead of having, if you remember from first edition, they had the assassination chart,
right?
And it was all basically a percentage chance modified by the assassin's plans and whatever precautions the target has and so forth. They basically just whittled that down to just a saving throw.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's the whole backstab thing right there.
No, well, that's the assassination thing. They do have backstab as well.
Okay.
But basically what it is that, if the assassin makes plans to assassinate somebody, basically tells the DM his plans, the DM says okay, and basically what it comes down to is that the target makes a saving throw versus death. And the higher in level the assassin is, the saving throw versus death gets a penalty. It's like at 4th level, it's like -1. At 8th, it's -2. I think it's like every 4 levels you get a minus to it.
Uh-huh.
So, then of course you have the assassin being able to disguise himself and work with poisons and things like that. It basically just distilled the 1E class down to basically its essence and just modified it a little for 2nd edition, but it works.
Now this is a kit.
No, this is a full-fledged class.
It says it's a full-fledged rogue class. So essentially, under the rogue classification, you would have
Subclass.
Thief, Bard, and the Scarlet Brotherhood Assassin.
Yes, that's correct.
Same with the monk.
So the monk in the
Scarlet
Brotherhood.
Is that a full-blown class too?
Oh yeah, complete with XP advancement and everything else. I took a lot of stuff from that class.
Yeah, the monk is listed under the priest umbrella.
Yeah, subclass of priest.
Okay.
It's more of a fighting priest.
Without psionics.
No. Hey.
Hey, easy. Take it easy with the psionics. Easy.
Yes, unclench your teeth, Glenn. We know how you feel.
We don't edition bash, but we do rule bash here.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm a stalwart defender of the P psionic, so I have to calm you
You're
down.
right, it is P, yeah.
Oh, Glenn.
But
Glenn.
I see though that the assassins here can use wizards and priest scrolls starting at level 12 with the same chance of success of a thief, but 2 levels lower.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
And it says here when the assassin or the rogues get their 30 discretionary points per level, the rogue only gets 20 at levels 2 and 3. Then after 3rd level, they go up to 30, just like a thief.
Right.
So they're kind of hampering them in some spots. So they're less of a thief and more of an assassin.
Right.
Because they can pull from the proficiencies of the warrior list as well as the thief and the general.
Of course, which plays into, pretty much, that blacksmith over there could be an assassin. You don't know.
Right.
You just have no idea. The assassin could be pretty much anybody. But yeah, that was also one of the interesting things is that it, as far as the thieving skills go, that they're just slightly behind of a thief of the same level.
Yeah, looking at this class in this book, the Scarlet Brotherhood class of the assassin, I mean, it's barely a half a page. I mean, just the text. There's a picture of the appendix up top and a picture of a Scarlet Brotherhood showing another Scarlet Brother, his tattoo. But there's barely like a half a page, one full column of information for this class, which I find surprising. I know it's a supplement, but for it to be considered a class, you would think that they would put more into it.
Yeah,
someone said earlier, all you have is a cracker.
You're right. You're right. I shouldn't be choosy. I should be happy that I got my assassin.
You're lucky you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mendicants can't be choosy-cants.
And I remember when they said that, they said anybody can be an assassin. But when I heard that, I always thought to myself, well, you know what? Anybody can be a thief. They might not be good at it, but anybody can be a thief. And you know what? You piss anyone off enough, anybody can be a fighter. I don't care if you're a little milk lady. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can be a fighter, but the point is we're specifying classes. It's one of the things that bugged me. I understood why they got rid of Monk because they were going to put it into Oriental Adventures. I remember that, and I was okay with them removing Monk because I figured they were going to push them over to Karatur and bring it out with the ninja and the samurai. And the,
wait, stop.
What?
You mean tell me that they were going to do a 2nd edition version of Oriental Adventures?
Yes.
Why didn't they?
Did you see what happened when the 1st edition one came out?
No, I didn't.
As far as I can remember, and everybody listening may be able to prove me wrong and tell me I'm wrong. Okay. If I can find the paperwork the pages that I've read, due to what's that lady's name? I'm sorry, her. That
I know
took over. About. Yeah, everybody knows who I'm talking about. When all the book quality started to go down, and
Lorraine Williams.
Yeah.
Her. Yeah.
Essentially, around the time when everybody was asking, "Where's my assassin? Where's my monk? Where's my half orc?" and 2nd edition had a firm hold, they decided, well, why not just do 3rd edition?
Oh.
So anything that was anything that was on the board to say we're going to do this next, we're going to do this next, we're going to do this next,
they just
got
tabled
wiped.
They tabled it for third. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
and they did do an Oriental Adventures for third edition. That's correct.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Wow. Okay.
So if we would have kept second edition and it never would have went to third, you would have seen a second edition Oriental Adventures and maybe a second edition Planescape book or not Planescape, but Manual of the Plains and Wilderness Survival Guide. You would have seen copies of the first edition books put into second, but we got third edition instead.
That's true.
Either of you had assassins in your second edition games that maybe you cobbled together or something?
Absolutely. In my opinion, there's one character in the Forgotten Realms literature that if it doesn't define what a freaking assassin is, I don't know what does, and it's Artemis Entreri.
Well, yeah.
Driss Do'Urden's nemesis, R.A. Salvatore's one of his more colorful villains in the Dark Elf books. He is a true to form assassin.
Yep.
And, just by reading the novels and, seeing how it's played, you have to be able to say, I need that kind of character in my game. Well, there's no assassins. We'll just make him a really mean rogue. Well, it kind of doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I've built a class. I've built a rogue fighter dual class that essentially worked as an assassin. And yeah, you have to particularly take a rogue and take a fighter and pick what you need. You can cobble one together, but I actually like this Scarlet Brotherhood class because it essentially brings back what's been missing. You can just take this and run with it.
Yeah.
But the answer to your question, Glenn, is I have done assassins in second edition. Cool. I actually have an assassin cult in my campaign world that I'm still working on, the Grey Cloaks. And I've actually put they have the Scarlet Brotherhood character class here. This what surprised me. I made a Grey Cloak assassin class for my game system. So this is pretty cool.
Wow. I don't think Brian has had anything to do with the assassin in his
not with second edition, but one of the things I was going to do in my quest of adapting all my old first edition characters to second, there is an assassin character that actually played for a couple of years back in the day, and he could probably it all depends because I still have to do all the things because I dual classed him at one point, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's but I could use this no problem. As a matter of fact, that goes right hand in hand with the Iron Ring, which is this basically it's almost like the Zentarin in Forgotten Realms, except not quite so organized.
Right.
I mean, they're basically slavers and assassins and things like that, and this could dovetail right into that. And God only knows, at some point, especially where I usually start my campaigns, my party's going to run afoul of the Iron Ring at some point, and, well, if they're of any metal at all, they're probably going to end up killing them, and then, well, the Iron Ring does some investigating, they find out who's responsible, and they send assassins after them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Sounds like exciting times.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Yeah. And there's a kind of a funny story that I'll tell you guys off the air that involved assassins in a game I played once.
They all stood in a circle and thrust, and the guy ducked. Yeah.
Wow. No, it's not family friendly, so I'm not going to go into it right now.
Good for you.
Yes.
Folks, if you used assassins, either homebrew or through this book, give us a shout out over at thacoshammer@gmail.com and tell us all about your assassin woes in second edition. Or 405-806-0555. Dragon's Foot. That's right. Dragon's Foot or Purple Worm. We're friendly. Talk to us. And now, we don't what?
I was going to say, we don't bite much.
Well,
you guys,
Brian may a little, but
only if you ask me really nice.
That's true. And now, magic fingers.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic fingers, biting the magic fingers that feeds him.
I'm sorry. When you said he bites, I just immediately pictured Brian as a ghoul that we have chained in the studio. You know, he's got the claw bite. That way we can have Ironhead come over. You tell us. Do you think you need 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about crafting custom magic items.
Custom magic items.
Yes, indeed.
I don't remember doing very many magic items in my campaigns.
Okay.
You guys.
Okay. Brian's confessions.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Brian's confessions, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, you know what?
Statements are not necessarily the statement.
Views expressed by the show.
Views expressed by Brian Caraway do not necessarily reflect those of Corey or Glenn or anyone else we have on THACO's Hammer.
Who may think it's BS, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. The year was, 1985. And I'm sorry, 84. And, of course...
1984?
Yeah, 1984, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't know about 1884 because my grandfather wasn't even born yet. But anyway, I made, of course, I don't know why, but I liked He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, so I made the Sword of Power.
I'm gonna just let you continue.
We're going along so far.
I could, if I looked. Well, actually, no. That's part of the stuff I lost when I moved to Florida, unfortunately. But basically, it was basically a +6 sword. It had all these ridiculous powers, but of course, it had the ability to polymorph the wielder into something harmless, and the only time its true form could be used after that was to utter some weird-ass 5-letter phrase. By the power of Grayskull.
Oh Lord!
I did it. I did it. I'm not proud of it. In fact, I
thought you had to say THACO.
If I had thought of it, I might have. But yeah, I wasn't proud of it. But yeah, I'm just going to wallow in my own shame for a little while.
Well, that is an example of creating custom magic items.
Absolutely.
Sort of. But how about you, Corey? You've ever created stuff?
I created one recently, actually. I just thought about one. Thought about taking this great spell we talked about on this great podcast of ours here, and
this fine podcast.
This fine, the 2nd edition podcast, and
best damn.
Turning that spell and investing it into a wand, and that'd be Chromatic Orb. I know, I talk about it, but that wand is going to appear in my next D&D campaign, and if I have to record it so you guys verify that I've done it.
The suppository wand of Chromatic Orbs.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's painful. Considering some of the effects of Chromatic Orb, yeah, that could really be bad.
Actually, I've done a lot of different magic items, but I wouldn't say custom magic items. I found that there is a plethora, and I use that word correctly, plethora, of threads on different forums where people are making custom magic items. And Dragon's Foot, offhand, there are a bunch of people that I can name offhand, SB Laxman, and a bunch of others that are just listing them. Entry after entry after entry.
Yeah, Garkal's another one.
That make fantastic custom magic items. One of them offhand I can remember is a sword that they have a hollow, the handle is hollow. And essentially the magic of the sword doesn't activate until you put something into the hollow of the sword. And what you do is, say you're attacking a troll. You cut off the piece of the troll's flesh and you put it into the handle of the sword. You now gain the ability of regeneration. Limited, but you still gain that ability.
That's nice.
Essentially, you see where this goes. You could put anything into the handle of the sword, and gain limited abilities, whether it be natural abilities or magical abilities of whatever creature type you put into the handle of the sword. I use that one.
Anything?
Glenn.
Oh, baby.
Glenn. Easy there, Chief.
You could put a drop of dragon's blood into the handle to gain flight, or maybe a limited breath weapon once a week. A 2D fireball blast out of your breath weapon would still be effective, or somewhat of a help.
Mm-hmm.
I put a kielbasa sausage in there.
Wow.
My one thing that I've used the sword for is actually put rust monster tentacles into the handle.
Whoa.
And essentially, as you swing your sword,
it has a corrosive attack.
Correct.
See, now that's straight up evil. That's much better. That's much better than the actual example I had before. I had a flashback of 26 years, and I'm sitting here and I'm ashamed of myself. But anyway, this is one I came up with just through
This is why I carry mummy fingers around to put in the handle. I'll be right.
Ooh, a disease attack. Ooh, that's nasty.
Anyway, you came up with one?
Mm-hmm. No, I came up with this magic item that I just, after watching one too many martial arts films from the 70s and watching one too many episodes of Dragon Ball Z, I came up with the fighting suit of prowess. And it's basically made for warrior classes or classes that use martial arts, such as monks or martial artists or another character that uses them. But basically, it's just these items of clothing, and they look normal, they feel normal. Of course, if you detect magic on them, they're going to show pretty strong magic. Basically, when you wear the entire suit, now it could be anything from, just let your imagination run wild. It could be like, a normal Chinese tunic with some pants and like a waist sash and something like that. Or it could be something like, say, from Dragon Ball Z, something like Vegeta would wear, which was like a bodysuit, boots, gloves, and a chest plate. You can basically just whatever it is, but when you wear the whole suit, you get it's sort of like a suit of armor in that it gives you an armor class of 5, gives you a +1 on your saves, and also it acts as a permanent endure heat and cold spell. So that means that, if you're in the desert and it's like 130 in the shade, you could wear that and you're fine. Or if you're up in, way up in the Arctic, in the Arctic somewhere, and, it's like 30 below zero with the sun out, you'd be fine.
Cool.
But those who use martial arts actually get better benefits. The armor class is lowered to 2. You get a +1 bonus to your martial art attacks and damage, and any martial arts related ability check, you get a +2 bonus to it. So, just using the class as an example, the block attack that we talked about last session, you get a +2 bonus to that. And saving throws and anything like that. So, also the suit is resistant to damage. It can be torn, cut, or ripped like normal cloth, but it repairs itself in a day. I mean, we're talking really strong magic. And also, there is a percentage chance per article of clothing that the actual article of clothing has a secondary power. And you could get almost anything you could think of out of like the DMG. Like, I even came up with an example. Basically, a body, like a suit would have like, just like one would have like a protection, like a cloak of protection, or one would another article would have like a rod of alertness, and another one would have like an amulet proof against detection and location. So for a fighting character, especially one who uses martial arts, this is like the paladin finding like a +5 suit of full plate, because after they get something like this, they wouldn't need anything else.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
The clothes fixing thing reminded me of one. It was the one spell that I missed, and when they brought it back into 3rd edition as a 0 level spell, prestidigitation. simple cantrip, but essentially it cleans your clothes. You know, does simple mends. I made a scarf of prestidigitation that essentially for nobles and bards and whatever that kept their clothes clean, kept them sewn, you know, covered the holes. And then eventually I started making a cursed scarf of prestidigitation, which essentially kept the scarf immaculate. Nothing could damage, dirty, or scuff the scarf, but anything that happened to the scarf was transferred to the character's armor or clothing.
Oh boy.
But the scarf stayed in perfect, pristine condition.
Yeah, I can just imagine just a foppish character just finding that and just being just completely beside himself because you know he's this scarf is like wonderful, but you know all the it just all the dirt just transfers to him.
Yep.
Wow.
What else I've done? I've always taken the list of magical items that I saw something on a potion that I thought would be great on a cloak, or I took a robe and I thought the abilities on the robe would be great on a pair of bracers, et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of people have done that where they're like, I like the idea of a robe of eyes, but my character wouldn't wear a robe, or this character wouldn't wear a robe, but he would wear a cloak, so let's make a cloak of eyes, et cetera, et cetera. No, that's I guess that's customizing magic items is what the subject is we're talking today.
Oh yeah,
custom and customizing.
Yeah. You know, you can take a sword of 9 lives stealing and you can turn it into an axe of 9 lives stealing.
Yeah. You could even swap abilities out between two magical items. What Brian? What?
No, I was just thinking that I had a character that had my first point is that when the Encyclopedia Magica came out, they actually had different ways of just having like rings and cloaks of protection, like headbands and like just regular gloves and just minor accoutrements which had these really strong protective abilities. And I was like, you know what? Why didn't I think of that? You know, and then of course in a game I was playing, I was running a mage thief, and of course, you know, the character had like these crazy color schemes just way out there. You know, and it was like the running joke in the game is that put her in front, she'll either attract wandering monsters or she'll repulse them with her color scheme, depending on what she's wearing.
Right.
But but one of the things that she had was, instead of bracers of defense, it was a headband.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And and it just taught me that any little piece of jewelry, piece of clothing a character could wear could have those things.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot easier than just everybody having just a ring of protection, cloak of protection, bracers of AC 5 or whatever. That's a great way of just making it custom and customizing your character at the same time.
Not everybody wants to wear a cloak or bracers. Or
when I do the lumpers and I draw them or whatever, when they see the cartoons, people go. I've had some people go, I see a sword, but where's his scabbard? Where's their backpacks? Where's all that? Well, I never told anybody this, but all three of them have either a hat or a helm of holding.
Nice.
So they don't need to carry all that stuff around.
Reminds me of the wizard from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Byron. They spent a fortune, but Byron made him 3. Like Dinkus's helm is a helm of holding. Mine is. His hat's a hat of holding. It's because I thought it's like, this is BS. I don't want to have to keep drawing all this stuff all the time. They got hats of holding. Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm sure somebody.
A buddy of mine, Steve, used to do that. He had a hood, like the pull down mantle with the hood and a little like pointy tail off the end of it, and he called it Heward's handy haberdash. They got from a haberdashery. So yeah.
Now that I've said that, somebody's probably going to write him up. So it's like, we'll take a bag of holding, take it to a haberdasher, and make it.
Why not? That was another thing in the Encyclopedia Magica for like a bag of holding. They give you a chart and they would say, here, instead of it just being just a sack, it could be a backpack. It could be something
satchel.
Else. Yeah, it could be a satchel. Yeah, it could be a whole bunch of different things. It doesn't always have to be just a bag.
Could be Mary Poppins' carpet bag.
Yes. Yes.
It could be a big Navy bag.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, rucksack.
Yeah, rucksack.
Rucksack of holding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's fanny pouch of holding. I don't know.
That's oh god, what is that? No, that's a pouch of holding.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, fanny pack of holding.
They have to come with a matching set of spandex pants of armor +2.
Of course.
Biker shorts. Biker shorts of armor.
Yeah, have a character with a fanny pack that's a portable hole so you can go in through your pants and scratch your, you know what, nobody's looking.
Wow.
That'd be fantastic.
Okay, that's enough of that this show. Okay.
Good night, folks.
Good night. No, we're not.
We're not done yet.
After that segment, we might be.
Yeah. Custom magic items. Oh God, you can't. You guys, if you don't have any, why not? Tell us about it.
If you don't have any, turn in your DM card. Damn it.
Yeah, and even if you're a player that you thought what would make a cool magic item, write us in and let us know what give us some ideas because we might use them.
We could read them on the air.
Yes,
sure.
And you'd be famous.
Yeah, THACOshammer@gmail.com.
Or infamous.
Or 405. Yeah, or Purple Worm.
Or 405-806-0555.
Yes, sir.
Now we're going to talk about Rule 0.
Rule 0.
Zero.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0. Rule 0. Sandboxes are...
God, this show's like a morning video show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are venturing into morning zoo territory, aren't we?
Yeah, we're more like a morning petting zoo.
Oh, is it a heavy petting zoo?
Oh,
I wish.
Wow.
I don't know what you buy to feed them. So Rule 0 is sandboxes or adventure path. What do you think? I know what I think. What do you think, guys?
Why don't you tell us what you think, Glenn?
Yeah, well, you start off.
Here's my take on that.
Okay.
I love sandboxes. I think all campaigns should go the way of sandboxes. Have 2 or 3 things, find out which one they want to do. But at the same time, sandboxes need something of an adventure path, at least at the beginning. Some kind of, I'm not going to say railroading because that's where it leads to.
That's a dirty word.
That can be a dirty word, but
unless you're playing that dungeon adventure about the duel.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is each campaign needs some kind of kickoff. And if the players are if you give, like you were talking about a few shows ago, Corey, about you gave your players too much choice.
Yeah, I gave them just a wide open field, and they just
stand around with their thumb, like a bump on a log, not knowing what to do. So you got to
nudge them.
Nudge them, give them a kick or something like that. And that's where the adventure path parts. But, once you got them going, it's like kickstarting a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got them going, they can take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my view on it.
That's fair enough. With me, I'm middle of the road. I can do both, and I have done both. I find that, the players feel a little bit, or they at least have the illusion of freedom when it's a sandbox, even though you're putting all these things in their path. But my whole thing is that both of them have merit. I mean, I have one campaign where it's just basically the party gets together, they find common ground, they band together, and they just go off and do whatever comes their way. Then there's another campaign I have, which is a lot more specific, and it involves rewriting a classic D&D module,
right?
Which I've been putting off, and one of these days I got to finish. Well, that's just that's just a classic case of me just going with one thing, then having this brilliant idea, and of course just having more of those, but each brilliant idea increases the order of work, the number of work I have to do.
Sure.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the adventure path I have is basically, it involves around an NPC, and it's, Corey, you would know what this is. Basically, she's kind of like a female dragon bait.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Sorial. basically her background is that she started off in the realms as an adventurer, took her, got with an adventuring party. They went up against a wild mage. The wild mage did what wild mages do, and she ended up being transported to Mystara by it.
Gotcha.
And after finding out there are no Sorials in Mystara that she knows of, she wants to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And the adventure path starts from this one city, goes into the desert to where the adventure is, where she found out that there's a portal that would transport her. Basically it's called the Portal Between Worlds, and it's this lost civilization. Yes, folks, it's the venerable but oh so wonderful Module B4, the Lost City.
Lost City.
Yes. And my whole thing is I took that and turned it on its ear. Basically, there are hardly any residents anymore, and the Drow have invaded from the Underdark below the desert. And then as another thing, the Zargon, which is the big bad evil monster at the end of B4, he's halfway in and halfway out of that portal. And he's got it to where death increases his power. So basically he's like got some cultists to him, drawn some cultists to him, and they're going around killing everything. And basically the more death that they wreak, the more powerful he becomes, and the more into this plane that he is, because he's like half in the prime material and half in another plane. Mm-hmm. So basically what the party has to do, and of course I still have the three faiths, but they are completely suspicious of each other. They all think each other is responsible for what's happened to them, and now it's just a whole big mess. They have to the party has to band the faiths together, defeat the Drow, defeat the cultists, defeat the Zargon at the end, then get to the portal. And
so it's an adventure path.
Yeah. It's a very, very narrow adventure path. And but for me, it's also, but the whole thing is that the party or the players know what they're getting into when they start this, because I'm going to tell them this is very narrow. Probably if you succeed in what you're doing, things will open up from there, because now once they get back to Toril, now they have to get from wherever they're at, and I've been considering a bunch of places, but they have to get from wherever they're at to where the Sorials live, which is a whole big adventure in itself. So it's like it starts as a path, but then it opens up into a sandbox.
Nice.
Well, you see, that's another thing I feel about sandbox or adventure path. I absolutely love sandbox, but every sandbox is littered with adventure paths.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just said it, didn't I?
It's just,
yes, you did.
That's okay. And it's the decisions of the players that make, you've got some paths here, they want to take them, it's up to them. And if they go on a path, well, that doesn't mean they're going to be drug around by the nose.
No.
They'll still be making decisions.
Yes.
They just have to make the right ones.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yes. What do you think, Corey?
All right. Let me get up on my soapbox here. Ever since we started this, I've always said, besides B12, Night's Dark Terror, is that B12? Yeah, B12.
No, it's no, Night's Dark Terror is B10.
9.
B10.
B10.
Okay.
B10, yes.
Whatever
B10.
it is. First edition module, Night's Dark Terror. That's my favorite. The second favorite module is Castle Amber. Those two modules are the only modules that I've run ever. I am a pure sandbox DM. And to answer the question, sandbox or adventure path, for me, it's sandbox. But I think a lot of it answering that question deals with who's at your table. Because like I said, I've put my group in front of a giant open world that I've spent years making up, and they kind of went finger and nose looking around. What should we do? It depends on your players. If you have players that have the initiative that goes, let's go west. Why west? Why not? Let's see what's there. Yes. That's the kind of player that any sandbox DM goes, yes. because they're going to want to go explore, you know? Hey, there's ruins over there to the west. Let's go to the ruins. You're done with the ruins? Let's go east now, or south. Why south? Why not? You know? I prefer sandboxes because it allows the freedom that I'd want as a player. I hate railroads. Adventure paths to me are like going B1, B2, B3, or do the giants, G1, G2, G3. Now do the drow. You know, that's an adventure path to me. But to me, you can't stop the giants. You can't stop doing G3 and go, okay, let's go towards the coast, get on a boat, and head west and see what's out there.
Why not?
You could.
We have to do drow the drow series next. Why? You know,
you don't have to.
No, but my point is, for an adventure path, that's what the DM wants to do as an adventure path. So for me, I don't want a DM that's going to do that. I want a DM that's going to go, okay, you're done with G3. What do you guys want to do? Let's take over the next town over and start taxing everybody like crazy. Sure, why not? Let's do it. You know, I want the freedom to be able to do whatever my character would actually do. You know, it's not, okay, we're done with G3. Let's start the drow. You know,
Yeah.
Sandboxes to me allow a lot of freedom to your players, and as a player who rarely ever gets to play, I'd want a DM that's going to say, you do whatever the heck you want, you know. And like you said, Glenn, when you have a sandbox, a good sandbox will have plenty of hooks for an adventure path. Okay, your guys are in a tavern. Cool. What's the tavern name? I don't know. The butt bucket. Okay, cool. Well, what's in the butt bucket? Well, there's a guy over there in the corner who's all shady and shadow, and he's smoking a pipe. There's an adventure hook.
He's
What's going
picking
on with
his
that
butt.
guy? Right. What about the bartender? Well, the bartender's spitting in a glass and shining it. But he has a left eye that's kind of lazy, but it's replaced with ruby. Wonder why. Let's go find out why. You know, a good DM will put in enough adventure hooks in a sandbox that the players will pick up on something, anything, and go, okay, let's try this path. And like you said, it's all about the decisions.
Right.
And once you get in a sandbox and you get on a path, like I told you, they make the decisions. A good path should diverge into several paths, depending on how they want to go.
Well, you find out that bartender actually owes a couple thousand gold pieces to the Thieves Guild. There's an adventure path. But then you also find out his daughter's missing, but he doesn't care because he's arguing with his son. And then you got to find that's another adventure path. They do divulge. You know, characters in a D&D world shouldn't be one-dimensional.
Well, I agree, but you know that also depends on how many dimensions the player has. Because it all comes down to player styles. There are some who it's like I've heard in episodes of our sister show Sod, Save or Die, where there's you have a bunch of players that they may not touch a die maybe once an hour or so, but then there are those who are just heavy into wanting to kill things.
Right. I don't care about the bartender and his lazy eye. I want to find out where the dungeon is so we can go get some loot. Kick in a door. I want to play Munchkin. Yeah.
Right. And
that's a decision.
Or somewhere. Yeah, it is. Or somewhere in the middle. Right. I mean, my whole thing is that I've always said it when the start of the game. My games are I try to be as close to 50-50 as possible between combat and role playing. Right. If you don't like doing one, don't get so fixated on the other that you're going to hold up the entire game because everyone's going to resent it. Everybody gets their turn in the spotlight in my games.
And I'd love to like throw them, take the Mickey out of the idea of giving the players the illusion of free will.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because when you come down to it, it's all about free will.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all this stuff in this sandbox. Choose something to play. I'm not telling you what to choose.
Right.
And you're going to go on this path. You want to choose? Okay, go on that path. Here's a bunch of other stuff. I'm not telling you what to choose, but choose.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of players don't get that. They just want the GM to
hand it to me. Hand it to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, place it in front of them. Mm-hmm. So they can go, and there are players who like to play that way.
Yeah, I have one guy in my group.
It's not a railroad.
Mm-hmm.
I have one guy in my group named Kevin. Kevin will play the lone assassin or the drow on the surface who's hiding with a hat of disguise, or the dwarf who he plays these loner characters.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about Kevin is, I'll throw him in a city, and Kevin will be like, "I'm going up to a sailor." that sounds a little creepy, but okay, what are you gonna do? I
Hello,
want to talk to him
sailor.
and find out who runs his ship. Okay, well, after some die rolls. All right, Bob over there runs his ship. Okay, I'm going to Captain Bob. Captain Bob, where do you get your sails and your rope? From Dave over there at the shop owner. And I'm like, Kevin, what are you doing? He's like, I want to take over the hemp industry in this city. I'm like, okay. He comes up with this off the wall adventure ideas, and I'm like,
now see, okay, I understand.
But see, the thing is, he does is the downfall of it is he doesn't realize that there's 5 other people at the table.
Yeah, that's my problem.
If I could play a solo adventure with Kevin, it would be fantastic because he could have me making shit up till the end of the millennium, the next millennium.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is all of his ideas are solo based.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the problem. That's the problem with those kind of characters.
Yeah, he's like, I want to. Okay, we're in a new city. I want to find out what's the second most popular church in town. Okay, it's the Church of the Dove. Okay, cool. Who's the first? The Church of the Eagle. Okay, I think my cleric is going to join the Church of the Dove, and I'm going to incite a uprising, and we're going to take over as. I'm like, that's fantastic, dude. And I'm like, but everybody else are fighters and thieves. Yeah, they kind of can't join the church there, buddy. You know, it's
that's where this, as DM, it separates the men from the boys.
It does.
If you can integrate that into the rest of the group, that would be fantastic. But like I said, I'm not, denigrating other DMs and stuff. But yes, it is very hard. But when you can make it work.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that as a DM, those kind of players make me want to tear my hair out.
Really?
Because I understand that they want to do things for their character. Yes, actually, yes. They frustrate me to no end because it's always something that has as little or as close to nothing to do with the other players as possible.
Right.
Everybody else could be, gathering information on this ruined keep like 10 miles to the west or whatever, and this guy's off doing this, and it's like, at that point I just have to take my screen and fold it down on the table, look at him right in the eye and say, okay, how is this working with the other player sitting with you?
Right.
I have to kind of call him on his crap because, it's like you said, it makes for wonderful solo games, but the operative word there is solo.
Mm-hmm.
When
you have to have teamwork.
Yeah, exactly. When you've got 5 other people sitting there rolling their eyes and, just trying to keep themselves occupied by, talking about, things that have very little to do with the game because this guy wants to do something so completely off the map and off the scale, right, that they're basically getting kind of they're getting restless about it. They're like, let's get together and let's all do something as a group. Let's not do something so way out, so based on one character that everybody else is sitting around with their thumbs up their backsides.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tie this together, folks. Don't worry. Go ahead.
I one of the other downfalls with the sandbox is when you give them 3 or 4 adventure hooks, and 4 or 5 people want to do hook A, and there's 2 people who are like, no, we got to do hook B.
Okay, that's when you have to kind of grow your nuts as a DM. Say, look, you guys figure it out and come to some sort of compromise. I'm not going to sit here for no more than 10 minutes and listen to you guys argue about, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. It's like, look, decide together. That's what this game is about.
I can go into the living room and listen to my grandson's fight over the TV in that case.
Yes, exactly.
I agree.
I
was just bringing up another point of the sandbox is that sometimes I talk down on the adventure paths simply because the lack of imagination on the DM's part. But with sandboxes, there are there's downfalls for a sandbox as well, and
that's what I was trying.
It comes down to what kind of party do you have? Are they able to pick up their own hooks? Are they able to agree as a group and go, okay, guys, let's do this? Or do they need you to grab them by the ring in their nose and drag them over to encounter 12?
We'll see.
To me, that would be like, the dearth where they just sit there, look at you, and go, entertain me.
Yes.
No,
Put something in front of me.
We are here to entertain each other, actually.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I mean, my whole thing is that even when I do adventure paths, I don't lead my characters around by the nose. I mean, unless it's like one of those epic, if you guys fail, the world falls into darkness kind of things, I don't do that. It's like, you guys can step off this path anytime you want. It's just, there are going to be consequences for doing it. I mean, if using my previous example, if like maybe halfway through the Lost City, the party has kind of lost their taste for trying to help this fellow adventurer get home, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you guys decide to say goodbye and leave her there and just go and do something else, but at the same time, I'm going to be like, okay. I mean, like, okay, you guys committed to this and now you're going to back out on it? Okay, let me see how I can, bring the consequences of that into game. Like the Drow take over the pyramid and now they have a staging area to conduct raids throughout, once they find
land.
Other places. Yeah.
Yeah, the players have to realize there are consequences.
Yeah. So the whole idea... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's not like playing a game on your PlayStation. You just can't press the reset button if you don't like how things are turning out.
Yeah. See, here's how I think it should be. This is my opinion and nobody else's. I think every game should be a sandbox with some adventure paths, kind of like a spice in a soup or a meal.
Oh, okay.
Something, on the side that you may not need, you may not need, but they're there if you need them.
Right. It's like that old phrase goes, it's better to have it, not need it, than need it, than not have it.
Yeah, so you don't have all the way sandbox, you don't have all the way adventure paths where people feel like they're railroading, don't have all the way sandbox where people just wander around in circles, go, what do I do?
Yeah.
Brian, did you just make that phrase up? Because that was deep.
No, I've heard that phrase 1,000 times. I mean, that's sort of like DMing 101 to me. What Glenn's talking about. If you have to include enough of one. You have to include, if you're on a path, include enough of a sandbox to where the players aren't feeling hemmed in. Yeah, they can make a decision, and it's not either going to screw up the game or completely derail the what the DM has in mind as the end game, and include enough of the path inside the sandbox so they can at least say, okay, there's this there's this region that's being threatened by giants.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And then you find out that it requires a pretty hefty commitment. I mean, not like in the old Against the Giants modules where basically you're threatened with death if you didn't cooperate.
That's quite a motivator.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about a railroad? That's the ultimate railroad right there.
Oh boy.
But I mean, yeah, it's just having to, kind of balance it out, I guess.
It's all about balance. What do you folks think? Yeah. What do you folks think? THACOshammer@gmail.com, 405-806-0555, and the usual places on the net. We're getting ready for a snipe hunt.
If you only had a living brain.
What do you think? Escaped gorilla?
Listen, you're making enough noise to wake up the dead.
I don't have to wake him up. He's up.
It's time for a snipe hunt. Snipe hunt. This is sort of left over from the last show. We didn't quite get into it. Ogre Magi.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. They
the
can be
big brainy brothers.
They could be a handful, boy. Ogre Magi in 2nd edition. Oh, it says any Oriental land, but I wouldn't let that stop me.
Of course not.
I mean, Oriental in this world, it also means like the Middle East and the desert.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. Indian.
Mm-hmm. More importantly, the Oriental Adventures book is based in Karatur, which is connected to a normal medieval Europe, England, or European-esque world by a mountain range. So I think an ogre can climb a mountain.
Right.
So we're The ogre went on the mountain. The ogre
to see what he can see.
Yeah, we're talking about a character which has an armor class, average armor class of 4. The THACO's 15. It has 5 plus 2 hit dice, so you don't want to throw first or second levels up against this thing.
No, they would die very quickly.
Yes, and they're pretty large. Their morale is elite. They have average to exceptional intelligence.
Yes.
And on top of that, they know how to do magic.
Oh, yeah. Lots of it, too.
They are the largest of all the ogres at 10.5 feet.
Yes.
Big time magic. They're big. They throw big magic.
Yes. They can fly. They can become invisible. They can generate darkness in 10-foot radius. They regenerate.
They can polymorph into a human.
That's the most important, second most important ability they have.
Polymorphing? Yeah.
Yes, one ogre magi could confound a party for game years if you play him right. You know, between all these abilities, they could cause all kinds of havoc for an adventuring party. They could be that one enemy that they just can't get. You know, I mean, but not only that, when they decide to fight, you know, the most important spell they have is that Cone of Cold, which is devastating. You know,
but they also have like Charm Person, Sleep, Gaseous Form, up sleeve too.
Yes.
Not only that, but let's not forget that they not only carry weapons, which may or may not be magical, depending on the level of magic in your game. 25% chance that they've mastered martial arts.
Yes. As a matter of fact,
a scimitar or whip.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they could have all kinds of nasty weapons. As a matter of fact, in the Complete Humanoids book, which we have to cover in depth at some point, but they actually have Ogre Magi player character races, but also they have the weapons. They have like the katana, large size for an ogre mage. They have all that stuff. But I said something in the last episode about it, but one time I've used Ogre Magi, I was going to flip the script and make him a good Ogre Magi. And he was going to be in this like futuristic arena type thing. It was like combining like Thunderdome with Spelljammer or something like that, like I said. And the party gets captured, and you know they have to basically earn earn enough respect and fight their way out of it. One of the NPCs that was going to be in this adventure was an ogre mage. He was going to be lawful good, and he was he was a fighter mage, as a matter of fact. He was like a 5th level fighter, 6th level mage. And I was basically going, and when you meet him, he's just basically this guy sitting there this human sitting there in a martial arts thing.
Dojo?
He's just sitting in a cell. No, it's just sitting in a cell when the characters get brought in. And he's just sitting there, and he's just basically looking at them because he's been there for years, and he's like, I've seen them come, I've seen them go, and none have lasted, none are of decent intent or anything like that. But I mean, with these abilities, an ogre mage is just technically he could confound a party going all the way up to name level, shall we say, up to 9th level and past it, because he's just got so many abilities and spells that he can use to his benefit to also confound the party and put the party in all kinds of uncomfortable, shall we say, situations that don't even involve combat.
Yeah.
Like say going to a town and charming like the mayor or something like that. Say, look, here, these people are chasing me. I'm just an innocent person. I'm just trying to get back to my home. They're trying to kill me. Stop them. Just basically turning an entire town against the party before they even set foot in it.
Yeah. I see. I mean, you're going for the martial arts type of angle to it, but I'm reading through here and I'm going, I'm looking at like the Arabian angle for it. I could see them as like a big pasha over a large desert area with like this big harem of female ogres, and well, even not just ogres either. I mean,
humans.
And all these guys, these other ogres serving him, and with the turban and all this other, or a fighter like out in the desert. There's like a squad of say bandits. And he just throws a couple of spells, and then he takes that frickin' scimitar and wades in like a whirling dervish. All that stuff, and just decimates them.
Yep, Hassan Chop.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've used an ogre magi as a big bad evil guy before.
And he's got key power too. He can use his key.
Yep.
Yep. Oh God.
Yeah. I had a group who got a little in over their head, and the dice were behind them the one night, and they managed to kill a creature way too powerful for them. They were supposed to run away, and I was starting to set up a nemesis for the group, but they decided just to wade in, and somehow blindly everybody was rolling 20s that night and killed off the big bad. So I gave them sort of a puffed up reputation. That essentially grew and grew to people were expecting these, level 4 characters to do things that level 12 characters have been doing. So they waded into a foresty area, and there was a large logging village that was being harangued by a group of ogres. Well, it turns out that one ogre in particular was causing the problem, and they had to go kill a simple ogre. And they're like, well, this is no problem for us. Let's go do this. Well, the one person I told you about before in the previous segment decided to do a little investigating. When I read the Ogre Magi, the first section I read was the Habitat and Society. And I used that as my hook. The logging community did a raid on the ogre's encampment and kidnapped one of the children of the Ogre Mage.
You don't want to do that.
And essentially threatened him to leave in return for his child. So what happened during the kidnapping process is a couple of the guards got a little too indignant and killed the child. So the ogre made it his lifelong goal to destroy the village. Meanwhile, the PCs knew nothing about it, and they just came in to, quote unquote, stop the evil creature from attacking those innocent humans. So
that's almost like a High Plains Drifter type of plot.
Essentially he was going around and he gathered up a squad of gnolls and sent the gnolls in, and then he gathered up a bunch of ogres and sent the ogres in. Meanwhile, these characters are sitting here defending this village from these quote unquote nasty monster attacks, not realizing, till in the end they realized, wait a minute, we're on the wrong side here. But at that point it was too late, and the ogre already said, okay, well, you're helping them, so you're part of them. And it was a really good adventure, because this is the first time I've ever seen a group not happy to win the battle at the end. Because they were upset that they had to kill the ogre because the ogre was going to kill them.
Right.
But they're like, we shouldn't have done this because we were helping the wrong freaking people. They're like, you're a jerk, DM. I'm like, I know, well, you guys didn't investigate it enough, So
that's
the Habitat Society.
Were there any? There were clerics with that PC party.
Oh yes, there were.
Oh, I'll bet their gods were not happy.
Oh, they were not. They lost the ability to spell cast until they got their piety back. Oh yes.
Oh, until they atoned for it.
Yeah, it says here that the monsters are extremely protective of their young and will battle with savage abandon to save one's life. If a young ogre mage is captured, these creatures will pay high ransoms for its return, but they will seek revenge and will never forget the insult of the kidnapping. That right there is what gave me the hook.
Even if they left the kid alive and gave him back,
right, it would be a transgression against the ogre mage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he may have not decimated the town, but you still don't want him pissed at you.
Yeah. That would piss him off.
Yeah,
you could go into like another adventure like over the desert, and it's like, oh, we have to go see this ogre mage, wise man or whatever, and you go in there and we need this information. He goes, wait a minute, you helped that town that kidnapped my son.
Yep.
Get the hell out of here. Or at the very least.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, about then unknown to the party, unless they're really, really smart or really, really paranoid, all of a sudden 4 or 5 more ogre mages appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, they were sitting there, you know, just waiting for the party to do something treacherous. Then all of a sudden the elder says, "Oh, wait a minute. You are those guys." A snap of the fingers, and all of a sudden 5 more appear, say, "Leave now or you're going to die."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Find
yeah,
some other way to do it.
these are some pretty vicious monsters. You can
See,
use
this is
these.
what I liked about before it was ogres. Ogres was like, oh yeah, ogres. How do you tell them from like bugbears and orcs and goblins, and they're just bigger or giants or whatever until you get to the ogre mage.
Yeah.
That's
with,
not now
with
that's
taller.
something
Yeah,
different.
taller with the blue skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said that's something different. That's something intelligent they can fight against.
Yes. And they're going to fight intelligently, and they're going to be pretty treacherous about how they do things. And those, like I said, those spells.
Uh-huh. And you can't tell me you can't find an ogre mage that wouldn't be the big bad behind the goblins and the orcs. And
Absolutely, he'd walk in and he'd take control, because a lot of the
Yes.
goblin kind, it's even written, it's stated in the information that they roll by strength, and orcs roll by strength, goblins roll by strength and cunning. Ogres have both.
Yep.
Yeah.
And ogre mages have more of it, a lot more of it. You know, a lot more strength, a lot more cunning, a lot more intelligence.
See,
you
to
know,
me, an ogre, he would have more. That's why I use the gnolls and the bugbears, because they're more militaristic, and they'd follow somebody who's tactically smart. Listen, we're not just going to charge him. We're going to wait till nightfall, sneak around, push those rocks. Oh, you got a plan. Okay, you got a brain. We're going to follow you. You know, he doesn't even need to show his strength.
Right.
You know,
well,
showing.
Maybe if one of them gets just a wild hair up his backside
sure.
and says, "No, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way," and the ogre says, "Oh, really? Well, I don't need you anymore." Cone of cold.
Yep.
Freezes him solid, then uses his weapon to shatter him into little pieces. Anybody else have any bright ideas? I didn't think so. We're going to do it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some vicious monsters.
Yes,
these
very.
are some fun big bads. For real. How do you guys use them? Tell us. I dare you.
Please.
I dare you.
I dare you.
I dare you.
I dare you.
I double dog dare you.
Dare you. THACOshammer@gmail.com. Yeah. And now for the pièce de résistance, the DM's rag.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's rag.
DM's rag. Oh boy, we've been waiting for this one, right, guys?
What's next, Glenn?
God, what is this? I feel like Buffalo Bob all of a sudden. Okay, kids. It's Aurora's Whole Realms catalog.
Ta-da!
TSR number 9358 in the catalog.
Yes, indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Hallstrom has been biting at the bit, and I mean literally.
If I had been biting at the bit, I would have looked through it a little more than just now.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at this in 5 years. Copyright, it was released in 92.
Yes.
The concept was Anne Brown, and the usual gang of idiots helped her.
Yep.
Tim Beach, Zeb Cook, Jeff Grubb, Julia Martin, Anne Brown, Colin McCone, David Zeb Cook, Thomas Reed, Stephen Scheid, and if there are people I forgot, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Stephen Shend is like, aside from Ed Greenwood himself, he's like the ultimate source on the Realms, because he did just about as much work on the Realms as Ed Greenwood did.
That's one thing I didn't notice. I didn't find Ed Greenwood's name in here. I guess he did work on this.
No,
or at least help.
Well, I think once he licensed the Forgotten Realms to TSR, you know, and he put out a lot of product himself, but he also had, you know, there were also tons of other people who came in and put their own stamp on the Realms. I mean, some of Ed Greenwood's finest work is the Volo's Guide to the various cities and regions.
Yes,
without a doubt. That's like his shining accomplishment aside from the setting itself.
Yeah.
But you know, with things like this also showed the talents of the other people, like a Stephen Shend.
Right.
Yes.
You know.
And if you look at this book, it looks different from the ordinary supplement. First of all, it's half size.
Yes.
And if you look at the front of the book, it looks kind of like a catalog. It doesn't even have the regular Forgotten Realms logo on it. It has a very fancy-ish type logo like a Sears catalog might have.
I actually like that logo.
I do too. I think it's gorgeous. But it'll have something that's like something Sears and Roebuck would put on in like turn of the century catalog or something. Sears and Roebuck, Forgotten Realms. And if you go in here, if you don't get any kind of ideas for adventures, get out of DMing.
Or even as a player going into this and going, I have an idea for a character that I want to play.
That's right.
This could be used either way.
That's right. You have a copy, right, Corey?
Yeah, I do have a copy. I have my backup copy for this as well as the hard copy.
Yeah, I got the PDF too.
Yeah, this it not only has nifty items, but I think it gives more detail to the more mundane items that we take for granted playing the game. Okay, cool. I have dagger boots. Well, what do they look like? How can I use them? And it gives an example of some of the things in the game that we're like, okay, cool. You have a fishing tackle. You have a fishing pole. Well, what kind do I have? And, this actually gives a lot of good information for, any class, because it is broken up into class equipment for classes. And, some of the things in here I've never used. And when I saw them in here, I was like, you know what? That'd be kind of cool to have on a rogue or, a bard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's definitely. And there's stuff, I mean, yeah, you're right. There is stuff you can use for any character in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an incredible little book. I'm just thumbing through it now. I mean, whoever thought of a scroll case,
right,
for like mages that just you can lay them out, and roll them up and take them with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who would think of putting that on an equipment sheet?
Right.
I wouldn't unless I saw it in here. And all these kind of clothes. What kind of clothes? Oh, I have adventuring clothes. Well, no, I have high boots, and I'm also wearing
fox skins.
Yeah,
or
fox
jaguar skins, or
Yeah, a surcoat and a tabard or something like that. And there's at least one thing in here I wish was reality.
What's that?
The Mage's Traveling Bookcase. It's not magic. It's not magic. But the first time I saw that, I go, "Oh man, I got to figure out a way to make this."
Yes.
It's like a steamer trunk that opens and there's these shelves and all the books are on there, and you just close it and latch it and take it with you. How cool is that? I'd love to take that to the conventions. Oh yeah, I'll go get my game books. Okay.
Not only for those listening at home, not only there's stuff in here for players, for their classes, the rangers, the thief, the bard, the priest, the wizards. There's also things in here for the DM to use that he might want to fill a dungeon with. There's general hardware, block and tackle, things that you might want to add to your
torture devices.
Sure. Things you might want to add to your descriptions in your dungeons that you might go, oh, yeah, let's put that in there, because a lot of people go, okay, you enter a 15 by 15 foot room with a door on the other end, and it's a wizard's lab. Well, the first thing my players do is go, I want to look through the stuff, because that's what adventurers do. And if you could just go, well, there's just some wizard stuff, some research material, okay, let's move on. Well, that's not that exciting. And after you hear that 6,000 or 7,000 times playing with the same DM, you get bored and you're like, okay, he's just going to say that there's wizard stuff. But if you can say, there's a set of beakers, there's, a flame on a small candlestick, things that they might go, oh, I want to pick that up. There's a lot of, jewelry, you come to a treasure hoard and you're like, okay, what's there? 15 pieces of jewelry worth 300 gold pieces. Well, what kind of jewelry is it? Can I wear it? Is it broken? Are they beads? Are they armbands? It has a full listing in here of what you can, describe to your players. It does help.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And it's a fun read too.
Mm-hmm.
It
Oh,
really
yes.
is. It really gets you not only into the realms, but even for your campaign. I was looking through here. I turned to the toys section.
Oh, that was
Diversions.
just at it. Yep. The
Oh man,
diversion.
I love the rocking horse. They have all kinds. Here's a little touch of humor in here. Like they have rocking horses. They have a rocking dragon, a Pegasus. And down here it's got crossed out. Rolling Beholder, discontinued.
Discontinued.
It's crossed out. And I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I like the clockworks, the little toys that the kids can wind up, and they're made of gear. You know,
Stuffed adventurer dolls.
yes, the fabric dolls are very cool.
Yeah.
They have the nesting dolls and the kaleidoscope, and there's a lot of things.
And like stuff you could. There's even in the toy section like puppets for a bard to do a puppet show. Marbles for the tops. Marbles. Don't tell me those don't come in handy.
Well, yeah, if you're trying to get away from somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. They even have polyhedron dice in there, of course.
Yes, that was, to me, out of everything I've seen in that book, that was the one that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
You know, the fact they actually have polyhedron dice. But
plus we haven't even got into like the food.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment on that. One of the sections in the book here is Aurora's larder, and it has a lot of the different spices and stuff. And if you guys remember, I told you I have one of my player characters is playing a retired cook, who essentially they torched the tavern that he was working at, and the players were just like, he's like, well, what am I gonna do now? And they're like, well, why don't you come with us? And he's like, all right, sounds good. And he left. And essentially, he's the cookie of the party. You know, he follows the group around. He's a fighter, but he's not that good. But he's a fighter. But he's their cook. And he actually comes to me all the time, and he's like, all right, I'm looking around for some herb and spices outside. What do I find? And he's actually picking up proficiencies by, learning these things. And this has a great list of just corns, flours, common seasonings that I can just go, hey, you found some laurel on the ground, or, you actually found a horseradish root, or,
After I bought the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it adds to that player's experience. Plus, I remember... So in the future, I can say, okay, well, you guys find that this person was eating food. Well, what was he eating? I now have a list that I can go through and say, well, this is what the meal was made of, or, for investigator or whatever. But the point is, there's so many things in here.
Yeah. After I got this book in my campaign, like not only my character, but everybody else's character, they walk into a tavern, mug old one eye. Everybody wanted a mug of old one. Don't you want the goose? No, I want a mug of old one eye. It's rot gut. I want a mug of old one eye.
Oh, look at this. Here's a thing taken almost directly from Lord of the Rings. Elven bread.
Yes.
Same exact thing.
Yes. And here's what gets me in the food: a tomato. A simple tomato, because it came from Mazteca. They had to import them.
Yep, and the Mazteca buffalo under the durable meat and fish.
Yeah.
30 gold pieces for dried Maztecan buffalo.
I got you both beat. Walnuts, 20 gold pieces.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird because I'm like, why are they so rare? I don't get it. But okay, I can go with it. One of the things this book showed me is that not all treasures have to be magical. And they don't always have to be of a piece. They don't have to be, pieces of jewelry or, things, just normal things. They can be little esoteric, useful things. And I mean, when we first introduced this in our Forgotten Realms game way back in the day, all of a sudden it's like, okay, we can actually find out what this is, what these things are, or, we can fully, outfit our characters as to what we're wearing and things like that, like Corey said earlier. And, then of course the list of, victuals or victuals, if you want, if you will. And, all these things, I mean, it's just one of these little books that's, this is why I think this is one of the reasons why this book is so valuable in price, because I got this one off of eBay back in the day, and I got it for what, $35, I think, something like that. And I can't even describe it. It's so different from what's gone before it. Because most people, when you're outfitting their characters with equipment and stuff, they just go with the normal, armor, weapons, this, that, the other thing, and they're done. Right. Here it's like there are just some things like the warming light, things like that, which is this little thing, this little lamp that you stick your hands into to keep your hands warm. It's just stuff that you wouldn't normally think of, but when you see it, it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You remember, I don't know if it was Sod or here that I told you guys I had a chaotic good necromancer.
Oh, the one who was
the healing.
Yeah, the demiurge.
Yeah, who basically was a Chirurgan because he knew so much about
that's what it was.
Well, when I first came up with him, I raided the section in Aurora's called Priest in a Poke.
That's the best title, Priest in a Poke.
All his stuff was right there. Cranial drills, bandages, crutches, herbal medications. If you need a peg leg, he had one for you. Limb rods, saws, splints, not only for the medical, but even for the mortuary stuff he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just raided this stuff for it. A tooth wrench. He could pull a tooth for you. That kind of tourniquets. It was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I got this at time of release. The cover price is $7.95.
Lucky you.
Nice.
I didn't pay that.
I've had it.
I paid like 4 times that.
I know, but I think it's one of those things. I have yet to see it at like half price or anything, but I think every once in a while it'll turn up. Just like the Volo's guide turns up every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have to cover those at some point.
Yeah, just keep your eye out for it, folks. It's Aurora's Whole Realms catalog, 2nd edition, Forgotten Realms. Cherish it. I love it.
Oh, my God. They've got peg legs in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. And hooks.
This is crazy. I love it. Oh, my God. This is just...
Oh, well, we got to stop geeking out because it's time to go.
It's about that time to hit the trail.
Yeah, we'll get you some Eep later. Go ahead and take a drink on your way out. Here's your character. Don't forget your dice. And that was a great show, guys. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot to talk about. And we, by the way, I must mention that we have thrown our hat in the ring as far as the Ennies goes. I hope to at least make the first round of cuts.
Absolutely.
And so, wish us luck. And for DM Brian, say goodbye.
See ya.
How about you, Corey? DM Corey, bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. I'll see you next week.
Okay, and I'm DM Glenn, and I'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. Auroras. THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find him on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. Also, you'll find us on the 2nd edition forum at dragonsfoot.org, or you can give us a call and leave a message at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.